Welcome back to First Things First. Now we move to the NFL, day 5 of continuing Bez Bryant coverage. Where will Bez go? Is Bez still good? Will Bez ever get married? These are all questions we are pondering. Earlier in the week, Bez mentioned that he'd love to stay in the NFC East and that the Giants would be a pretty good fit for him. Yesterday, the Giants cut wide receiver Brandon Marshall. When Giants GM Dave Gettleman was asked about if he would sign Bez, he said, quote, "I'm interested in everybody." Way to narrow it down, Dave. Right after the Brandon Marshall cut was announced, Bez posted this video on the gram of he and Odell working out together. It's rope day.
Yeah, it is.
It's not bad. What do you think, guys? You think Dez would make a good fit with the New York Giants?
Now, was that a current post, or was that a picture that they worked out before they went to the...
I believe it was supposed to be from that day. I don't know if it was like in real time. I thought that's what it was. Now, there's a TV on in the background. We could try to Zapruder film and see what they were discussing on that television. But I thought it was supposed to be from that day, but I'm not certain.
Yeah, I think it could be a good situation. Dave Gettleman's comments are correct that... that's your boy at the NFL Network.
Yeah, that's my guy Strager. So they were it's from this week because it said Cowboys a playoff team without Bez Bryant.
How did you
So it's something post-cut. So it's something in the last few days since he's been cut.
I think it can be a great thing for all parties involved. Gettleman should have. In the NFL right now, you have free agents who are available. And you should be looking, if you're looking for a wide receiver, you need a replacement for Brandon Marshall. You need a big, physical, boundary wide receiver. Bez Bryant is a person you'd have to look into. What's the price? How long you're going to have him there? And him and Odell does not. Them being together working out, it does not hurt the case for him being there. Because there's a certain amount of intel that NFL scouts, NFL general managers, like, they don't know. So they'll go to Odell and be like, man, what kind of guy is he? Forget about what we've heard. What does he like to do? Do you think that he fits into this culture? Now, where Odell's been, this could be an olive branch for Gettleman and also Shermer, the head coach, that they can have Odell involved in this transaction, which I believe should empower and help the relationship that they have. Because if Odell feels like he's part of the future and he's helping them develop the future, I believe it can be a great situation. Dez is motivated to play. He knows the NFC better than any other division. He knows that conference better than any other conference. And I believe with Odell, because Odell is a technician as a wide receiver. Odell is a guy who works out all the time and loves to work. I believe those things can be a motivation for Dez, but nothing bigger than the fact of the humble pie, realizing there's a guy here at my position that is better than me. And I believe at this point in Dez's career, that can be a great thing.
What was the added motivation or mindset for you in 98 when the Vikings added Randy Moss?
The motivation for me was how good of a team we could be. We were already a 3-receiver set. I knew I could play all 3 positions. I knew there really wasn't a guy that can take my place. And at that time, I was in the prime of my career. I had made the Pro Bowl 4 straight years. I had 4,000-yard seasons. And I believed that Randy would I never looked at Randy from a detriment standpoint. I looked at he could enhance what I've already accomplished. And if I didn't have those last 4 years with Randy, I don't know if I'm the Hall of Famer that I am today. So it was good for me to have someone that if I wasn't at my best, then there was a guy on the team that was better than me.
It's not an apples-to-apples comparison, certainly not stylistically. But the reason I bring it up is I think that there aren't many teams that Dez could sign with, that he walks in the door and knows he's not the #1 guy. He signed with Pittsburgh. He knows AB's better than him. He signs with Atlanta. He knows Julio's better than him. He signs with New York. He knows Odell's better than him. I bet you Dez thinks those are only 3 wide receivers in football better than me. I'm still a top 5 guy. I never stopped being a top 5 guy. If he went and signed with the Houston Texans, which he's not going to, but if he did, if he wants to stay in the state of Texas, he walks in there thinking, I'm better than DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, I would let him know, though, you're crazy.
Okay, that's fine. He's not. But so I think that could be good for Dez. I think it could be good for whatever team he's on, having someone who is better than him, who is the hardest worker on the team in Odell Beckham, who he does have a relationship with. From a football standpoint, this makes an enormous amount of sense, just for the same reasons that signing Brandon Marshall from a football standpoint, made an enormous amount of sense. I just think Dez, even a lesser Dez, is a better receiver right now than Brandon Marshall was going to be at that point in his career, or at this point in his career. So I get all of this. I understand what it's the same division. He knows the defensive backs. He wants to play the Cowboys twice. He has a relationship with their star player. For all those football reasons, this makes sense. If it doesn't happen, then Dez, I would think, would have to look inside and say, hold on, I said I got run out of Dallas because of the Garrett guys. Are the Garrett guys, have they infiltrated other teams? Or is maybe my attitude, if I want to use that word, more toxic than I thought it was?
Is it possible? I mean, we're looking at Bez Bryant because we spent weeks and weeks talking about how Bez Bryant's, reduced production over the last couple years and has really factored into him no longer being a Dallas Cowboy and not worth the money and not even worth a pay cut, really. But all of a sudden, we're talking about all he has to do is really acknowledge that there's a better receiver on the team with him that would motivate him, that he's going to stay in the division. Now he knows the DBs, and suddenly he's going to be able to put up numbers that are better than what he did in Dallas?
No, if it would be a great season if Bez Bryant had 800 yards for the Giants.
Right.
Odell Beckham's going to have 1,400. That's a huge difference there. Their tight end's going to have 800, maybe potentially 900 yards. Like Sterling Shepard's going to have 700, 800 yards.
And we're assuming that Dez is 100% comfortable walking into place and not being the main guy.
Because we're just using the Giants.
Yeah.
The Giants' personnel is better than Dallas's. The quarterback throwing the football is better for the Giants than he is in Dallas. That's how. And he's a complementary part to a solution to an equation. That's the reason why now it seems so simpler, because now you're breaking him down to, wow, how would he look as a complementary player compared to a guy who's the leading actor?
Like, sometimes the most obvious answer is the right one. And when Dez gets cut, the only reason the Giants weren't immediately attached to him was because they had Brandon Marshall. Well, Brandon Marshall has now been cut himself. And so now you look at it and you say, there is a position of need that is the exact position Dez plays. The body type they need, if we're trying to do the whole wide receiver core as a basketball team with your point guard, your power forward.
Yes.
Like, they have a missing piece there. It is where he wants to go. Like, he said, I want to stay in the NFC East. NFC East ain't got 9 teams in it. It's got 4. One of them cut you. One of them's Philly, who is not signing you. So now you're down to Washington and the New York Giants. Like, I think I think most people believe the Giants, despite last season, are closer to competing than Washington is.
And I just believe that there's some other things that are relative to being in New York that might become important. I believe this might come down to the last minute, who the Giants draft. Because if the Giants decide at number 2, they stay in that position, or let's say even if they move down, if they get Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley is represented by Rock Nation. Rock Nation also represents Bez Bryant. Rock Nation is here in New York City. So not only would Dez have the ability to be around the people that represent him, he'd also be playing in the division he's very, very familiar with and playing on a team that I believe would be a good complement with him opposite of Odell Beckham. So at the economics of it, he could take less money, feeling like I'm in New York. I might be able to make some of that money up off the field because my representation is there. It would be a good look for him.
The one name that we haven't talked about at all in all this is Eli Manning. What does it do for Eli Manning now, coming off the year he had, saying, okay, I'm going to get Odell back. There's a chance we may have Saquon Barkley. Now you're telling me maybe I'll have Bez Bryant.
Well, what you just described, sometimes when we do these hypothetical scenarios, there's a lot of dominoes that have to fall. If the Giants want a team with Odell Beckham Jr. locked up long-term, Bez Bryant on a try to kind of reclaim some old glory year, and Saquon Barkley, no dominoes have to fall.
Yeah,
they just have to choose to do it. They can do that right now. I'm sure Eli, there'd be people in his life and be like, it's a fiery locker room. Gonna have a lot of guys talking to you. I bet Eli would be thrilled. Eli knows his window is right now. This year, maybe next year. And if you all of a sudden have Dez as a number 2 receiver is so much more valuable than Dez as a number 1 receiver.
And also I believe that there would be carryover because Bez Bryant, when he had success, he played with a quarterback that's very bright. I don't care if you don't like Eli. I don't care if you don't like his performance. I don't care if you like his personality. Eli Manning is one of the smartest quarterbacks in this league. As far as route adjustments, reading on the run, he would be able to hand feed Dez, a lot like Tony Romo. When I told you Tony Romo made Dez for the most part, Eli could be able to resurrect some of that.
And so, like, this is, and if you're a Giants Giants fan right now and you think last year was the aberration, and you can come out of this offseason with your left tackle position taken care of, the best running back you would have had, the highest potential running back maybe in 35 years for the franchise, Odell back, and you add Dez as a number 2, that's exciting. Don't forget our guy Evan Ingram, the tight end they
We got to go. Great week, as always.
Absolutely.
Have a great weekend down in Florida. We'll see you back here on Monday.
Talk to you guys when the Cavs are up 3-1.
Have a great day, everyone. Great weekend.